ready? Roll podcast and action.
I am Max Halot.
How's it going? I'm Nick, as always.
Real Brothers podcast, actually, not the Super Movio Brothers podcast.
Yeah, that was dumb. We've decided. We were like in denial that how dumb it was. It was dumb, so it's gone.
I knew how dumb it was. I was just like, I couldn't think of anything better, so I didn't want to.
Yeah.
That's like that movie trope that is so overdone, where it's like somebody's like, that's a horrible idea, and he's like, well, can you come up with a better idea? Or, well, what's your idea? And the guys just go silent. It's like, that doesn't mean your idea is good. It just means you have one.
It just means... actually, okay, so this is actually what I wanted to talk about. This is rant, but I'll get to it. But I don't know if you have anything else to start off, but this is my rant completely unrelated to movies, and I hope this is alright. This is off topic, but I need to get it off my chest, and I hopefully somebody will listen to this, and you'll appreciate this. I saw a commercial today. I think it was today or yesterday. I don't know if you've seen this, called iZombie. And it is a new series coming to the CW. Now, let's be real. The CW doesn't get all the greatest things. You know, Arrow...
The exception of, like, yeah.
Arrow, not terrible. Flash is pretty alright, you know. But, like, on the scale of...
But everything else is just, like...
Yeah, pretty subpar. But that's not excusable for this one coming up. It's called iZombie. And it is about... And I am not lying. You would think I'd be making this up. It is about It's about a forensic scientist working for like a cop organization. All right, you've heard this story a million times already, you know. But she's a zombie. So, her leg up on everybody else is that she eats the brains of victims and sees their memories, and that allows her to solve the crimes. I'm serious.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, props for trying to be original, but
it's not though. I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean,
it's an original twist.
When I saw
things.
that
makes no sense.
When I heard that commercial, I was just like, wow. You know, forget Honey Boo Boo. Society and TV hit a new low.
Don't say society.
But it's just... Well, because, you know, people will lap it up, so I guess that's what I mean by society. I hate to sound like all, you know, righteous or whatever.
Is it a comedy?
Well, no, it's not like a straight-in-your-face comedy like Adult Swim.
Damn.
But it's like quirky kind of comedy. It's not like a drama, of course, but it's like a quirky comedy. You know, which it's understandable, but it's the part that's quirky about it is not like it's like supernatural quirky. But not as great of a cult following. It's gonna and like you know, Sleepy Hollow, is it right, or something like that, where you know, Ichabod Crane is following. It's like
self-aware how
it's forever that one cop drama where the guy can live for hundreds of years, and that makes him more intelligent. You know, it's just what the thought came to my mind about 5 or 10 minutes after I was thinking about how angry I was and how I couldn't really put it to words. And I thought how appropriate it would be for this movie podcast that we keep it as. I kept thinking of the quote from Avatar, the one part where Sigourney Weaver's character just says, "They're pissing on us without even the courtesy of calling it rain." This show is just an example of Hollywood or whoever, you know, that creates this shit pissing on the public and thinking, you know, whatever, they're gonna lap it up anyways. I was very angry about that, so it's kind of the extent of my rant.
That's kind of the thing. It's easy to make fun of Michael Bay movies, but that's what makes them so easy to make fun of, is they really just don't care about the audience, and that's what makes me... I have this whole philosophy where it's like, movies are art, and there is no such thing as bad art. The only bad art is cheap art or art made specifically to just get a paycheck. Like, lazy art goes under cheap, and then there's like the people who are just like, I just need the money, I'm just gonna, you know, do this to impress people even though I don't really care about it. Like, that's bad art. That's what Michael Bay turned into. He honestly was, even if his movies were stupid, he still was a solid director, and he actually cared about a lot of the stuff that he was. But then you just look at like the newest Transformers, and it's just It's just horrendous. It's awful. It's
I never saw it. Was it bad though?
It was bad. I mean, kind of entertaining. It was like Sharknado entertaining.
But
Actually, no,
dude,
Sharknado wasn't even entertaining.
Dude, the Dinobots were in it.
For like 10 minutes. They
Really?
were, yeah. That
They
was so upsetting.
They advertised the shit out of that too, so they were kind of like screwing with us.
I know.
Too.
I know that the entire time. That's what they just crapped out posters that would say things like that would just have Optimus Prime riding a dinosaur or something stupid like that, and then like you're sitting there. The movie's like almost 3 hours long.
Okay.
It is a fucking long movie, and just I gotta say it's like end half hour the Dinobots show up
Jesus.
for a little bit.
Well, yeah, like you were saying, and I agree. People get pissed off at people that are jaded about movies, and I for the longest time didn't like people that were super jaded, just go into a movie and just be like, oh, sucked, it was terrible, and like even movies that are obviously set up for terrible, like the first Transformers. Yeah,
First
sure,
Transformers.
that was a
good movie though. That was a fun, entertaining movie.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't see that, so they're jaded and they just go like, sucked. They need to see some artsy shit. And I like to think that I can appreciate certain movies for what they are. But there comes a certain point that you watch a movie and it was made half-assed and just lazy, and the only reason they did it was because they knew people would go to see it. And it's like, if you're a viewer, it's insulting, really. It's insulting that people would do that, try to get away with shit like that. Mm-hmm. But I felt personally attacked and insulted by this new TV show coming out called iZombie. So, to all 10 viewers on our YouTube videos, so thank you to those 10 viewers, don't watch that fucking show. I'm going to say a campaign against that show. But yeah, that's the end of my thing. And furthermore, maybe it's not the end of my rant, because I don't know if you have any opinion on this, Max. So there's a few movies coming out. We're gonna kind of talk about the movies that we've seen in the past and movies that are coming up, and then look really, really far to rumors and stuff that we've heard of movies. That's kind of the general structure we're trying to work out here. So the movies coming this weekend, we got Cinderella coming out, in case you want to see that. I don't know if you want to go see that, Max.
Oh, it's tempting.
It's got Rob Stark in it, which is cool. I don't even know his real acting name, but he's Rob Stark to me. We have Run All Night with Liam Nelson.
Nelson? You called him Nelson for the longest time, and it drove me fucking nuts.
Well, that's his name. And before I rant about Run All Night, I also want to talk about a real quick thing that I thought was funny. I was looking at all the movies coming up, and I didn't want to look too far, but there's Insurgent coming up, which I could give less shit about. I mean, I don't know. It seems like a crappier version of Hunger Games. I really should go see it so I have a better opinion on it, but did you see Divergent?
The thing is, I saw Divergent. It was okay. It was, I thought it was going to be a lot worse, and it was not as bad as I thought. That doesn't mean it was like really, solid. It wasn't like, again, it wasn't lazy. That's what that's one thing I really don't mind about. The problem is Shailene Woodley is one of those actresses that can't be badass, and that's nothing against her acting abilities. She's an okay actress, but like, who is it? Like Julianne Moore, actresses like them. They can go. Kate Winslet. She could be badass, and she could be like cute.
Yeah.
Same with Julianne Moore, and same with like Jessica Biel and Jessica Alba. They could both be good looking and like play the role of just of cutesy and badass.
Yeah, well,
but
I mean,
Shailene
one they can do strongly than the other, but you're right, they can kind of do both sometimes.
Yeah, and Shailene Woodley cannot do, to save her life, badass. Like I saw a majority of, so far I still haven't finished The Fault in Our Stars, and she's good in that because she's someone who's dying of cancer, so she's super cynical and super just this kind of like, I don't know, she has this super pessimistic view on things, but she's still just a teenager. She's just playing a regular teenager. And she's really good at that. And I saw commercials for her and other things, and she just played like a teenager or whatever. And, she was good in those because she was just being a teenager and just being a normal person. But like, when I see the trailers for Insurgent, I really want to have hope for her. But then she yells stuff. Like, at one point she yells, "Mom."
Tries to be badass. Oh.
She yells "mom." First off, yelling "mom," you can't be badass yelling "mom" whenever you want
There's
to.
no possible way.
There's no possible way.
Ma!
And
The meatball!
and second off, she just has this like voice that's like that doesn't even make it work.
Yeah.
Like that's why it worked with Jennifer Lawrence.
Although
was
if
because
I swear to God, if I hear that one line one more time, I'm gonna shoot myself.
if you burn,
I have a message for President Snow.
President
If
Snow.
we burn, you burn with us. I cannot stand that line anymore. And actually, you're right. And I have my own qualms with the Hunger Games, but she can be badass if she wants to. And she's
even Mystique, even if it's not even Hunger Games, she was badass as Mystique, and even as Katniss.
That line was just terribly delivered, in my opinion.
Yeah, well.
But I agree.
That movie was the Mockingjay, the first Mockingjay I saw, and it was unique in the whole. This is just a sidetrack thing, but it was unique in the whole revolution thing where the resistance wasn't this ragtag people who somehow got like hundreds of members. They go through like the process of being a revolution in a dystopian future. Like they at one point they're making their own commercial like with this because it's the future, but it's still they're ragtag, but they still have enough technology to make like a commercial and stuff, and they have all these like futuristic cameras. And it's cool because like they do multiple takes and she messes up on her lines, and it's just funny to see like, wow, this is the only time that shows that both sides can be staged. Like one side isn't just it's not like in a revolution one side is just the bad guy and the other side is perfectly innocently fine, never tells a lie. This one, they exaggerate things, and it's obvious like because Katniss is supposed to be the face of this revolution. And they show off her going like, why are you making me say these things? And they're like, because even though they're a little bit of an exaggeration, they still get the people going. And you see her say these things, and it gets the people going. And she like looks around like, you people really believe me? And it's cool because that's like such a unique part of a revolution that you never see in movies. And I just thought it was funny that they added that. And that's another example of how she could be like the normal kind of cutesy, just like a public face, but at the same time, then she could just turn around and just like be a badass.
Yeah, that does show like a realistic. People will suck up anything. You gotta kind of like be somewhat rehearsed on certain things. I understand that. And what you said is so true about so many movies. It's like what I was saying to Joe the other day. That's the third brother for people who don't know. He may or may not come in on one of these sometime. I doubt so ever. But anyways, I was saying to him one time that people need to get served on a plate. They need to know exactly who the bad guy is and who's the good guy. It's like in a movie like one of the Die Hards. I forget which one because you stop counting after a while. And it's like, what's his name? John McClane. He's like running away from the bad guys, and he saves some innocent person, some innocent bystander. Boom, he did something great which he didn't need to do. He's the good guy. Then boom, cuts to a scene with the bad guy, and the bad guy tells him, rehashing his devious plan to the whole audience, of course, for some apparent reason. And then he makes out with some random girl, which we just assume is his girlfriend at the time. And then she says something like affectionate, and he just disowns her, yells at her, and you're like, oh, that's clearly the bad guy then. I mean, it's like and of course the audience laps it up. Like they don't even notice. They don't see it from the way really kind of more the analytical people see movies, but the audience just goes, oh, that's the bad guy and that's the good guy. I'm glad I know their sides now. But the good movies, like you were talking about, are the ones that kind of blur those lines. The good guys do things that the bad guys also do. Maybe they don't do the most moral thing, or maybe they try to and they make a mistake. And ends up not being the right thing. That's when you see good writing.
Hell, what were you saying? What you were saying though was also the problem with the newest Die Hard was it was so convoluted and had no idea. The movie itself had no idea who the bad guy was or where it was going or anything. It was just you thought this guy was the bad guy. But it turns out this guy's the bad guy. Oh, that's a cool twist or whatever. But no, that guy's just a side man. And then, it wasn't good twists. It was just unnecessary twists. Like at one point, the bad guy, you think the bad guy's a hostage, but it turns out that hostage like shoots one of the side right hand mans of what you thought was the main bad guy, and you're like, oh, that's the main bad guy. But they're all just sitting there with bad guys. It's not like he had to pretend to be a hostage for anything. He was just standing there pretending to be a hostage, and then he was like, "Oh, you're a bad guy? Why didn't you just shoot him like 10 minutes ago? There's no good guys around. You don't have to pretend."
He's gonna shoot him with his gun, but the gun's not a real gun. It's rubber. Dun twist.
It's I don't know, whatever.
So I mean, we got way off topic, but Insurgent was just one of the few. And then there was The Gunman, which it's one of those movies. It turns out, if you've seen trailers for this, I saw the trailers. I was really excited, and then I saw, boom, the directors of Taken, and I was like, oh shit. And I don't know. I don't know about it now, but it's got a really solid cast, so I might go see it still.
The thing with that though is you gotta the whole thing with another thing that Michael Bay used to be. The directors of Taken, they're good directors. They know how to make an action scene. They know how to frame their shots. Same with M. Night Shyamalan. Even though he's a shit writer, he might not direct writer or actors that well. Each shot is perfectly crafted and perfectly angled and framed. And when Michael Bay really cared, he had perfect framing. He could make his action scenes super invested and very, very detailed. The first Transformers, the effects looked really good. The visuals were perfect. The angles were fine.
I wouldn't say perfect. I had no idea what the fuck was going on half that time sometimes.
Yeah, that's just because he was zoomed in a little bit too much. But like then you look at movies like The Island or Pain and Gain. The Island was
a perfect movie.
The Island was a fantastic film.
Very underrated.
And Bad Boys even was like even though it was stupid humor, but it was like either way it was directed well, and that's what the whole thing with if you see from the writers of Transformers 2, then maybe you're in a little bit of trouble. But other than that, the directing usually is like if the movie itself is directed well, if the movie's bad, you got to take into consideration on how well it's actually shot.
That's very true. And I mean, I didn't look into the writing as opposed to who wrote, and Taken 2 and Taken 3 are tanked pretty hardcore, so maybe there were different writers for the second 2 than the first one, and maybe those writers aren't involved in The Gunman, who knows. But like I said, I'll go see it. It's a big time action movie, and it's great for the theater, so I'll give it a chance. I like Sean Penn, whatever. Javier Bardem, Idris Elba, a lot of good ones.
Yeah, that whole movie, the plot just seems like super cliche and overdone, but I don't care because all of those actors are just phenomenal.
Yeah. That one line made me groan. Was it like, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill them all. Like, how many times is that used in an action movie? Especially an action revenge movie. Okay, so the new releases coming out soon reminded me of... I want to get to the end of what I was trying to eventually get to with the movies coming out in the next week or two. I saw a movie on this list on IMDb, and I don't know if this is like a misprint or something like that. It actually, I'm looking at the article of it now, and it says it was a 2014 American drama film. It's an Asian film though, I guess. It looks all like, starring all these Asian people and stuff. And it probably was a foreign movie. But anyways, listen to this plot. The story is based around an urban legend surrounding the death of Takako Konishi. It was reported in the media that she had died trying to find the treasure depicted in the 1996 film Fargo. So this girl finds the VHS Fargo and goes after the treasure that's in the movie. And it sounds like a terrible, goofy movie that just, some B-rated movie, but it's, a legitimate, drama, and I think it's actually a kind of a sad story, too, so it was just kind of funny, something I just stumbled on, so, what is it, here's the plot, without giving, a struggling 20-something, she works a dreadful dead-end job under an awful boss, intimidated by her well-off peers and nagged incessantly by her mother. The only joy in her life comes from a grainy VHS tape. an American film in which a man buries a satchel of money in the snowy Midwestern plains. Blah, 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 somehow convinced that this treasure is real and obsesses over its discovery. And it was very strange that I saw this plot, and I'm honestly kind of curious as to watch it. But it was just weird how I stumbled upon it, and I thought the plot was hilarious, and that it's like a real drama, so who knows? Maybe you guys should all go check it out.
Yeah, I think I saw that like briefly a while ago. I just remember reading it and it just making no sense. She finds Fargo and wants to find it. Wait, and then I'm just go whatever, and I just kind of like moved on. Yeah, that makes sense now.
I was just like, it has to be a comedy, and it was not at all. It's just like, all right, Fargo itself is a goofy little quirky comedy, but then somebody just finds it, watches it, and decides that it's real and wants to find the treasure in it. It's like if I watched The Goonies and was like, oh my god, I gotta go find that. But yeah, I mean, that's a wrap up of the movies coming out in the next few weeks. So
There's something that I was thinking about the other day. Hold on a sec.
it's a good thing to start out with thinking.
So there's all this political correctness going around, and I'm not going to go on a rant about why we shouldn't have it or should have it. That's not what this podcast is about.
Yeah, please
But,
don't get into politics.
But there's one thing that I really want writers and audiences to be prepared to like, or not even like, to get used to at least. And that
Alright.
is, and I named this myself, and you know, email me if you want about how horrible it is, comment on it, everything. The character is called the likable Nazi, and that may sound completely and utterly horrible when you first hear it, and it is, and that's the point of the character.
I'm waiting to see how you end this, because I'd be interested to see how you convince me on this.
If you're a respected person and you want to be respected, and you don't want to be labeled as an asshole, you're not gonna say sexist or racist or the word retard or anything like that. In any bad lighting. You're never gonna say that as an insult or anything rude. Characters in movies might, because they're characters in movies. And then every once in a while I see articles that are like, this was such a horrible movie because this character said retard or something like that. And it's like, no, that character is just supposed to be a character you're not supposed to completely like. You're supposed to be on edge about him. Like, one of the examples I thought of was Randall Graves from the Clerks movies. He's uses the word retard as an insult a lot. He says racial slurs just on accident from time to time, and he's not supposed to be, it's not supposed to mean that the writer is a racist or the writer hates mentally handicapped people. He just is, that's just what the character is about. And that's what people need to know, because I was just thinking, with the third Clerks coming out, I know Kevin Smith won't do this, but I don't want people to freak out because Randall Graves is still there and he's still using, even though it's 2015, he's still using these horrible slurs and these awful things. That's not the point. People who latch onto those things and focus on those things forget the point of the movie, the fact that it's a character. Gone Girl, that has, I won't spoil anything, but some of the characters in there are pretty horrible people, but it doesn't mean you're supposed to go either, wow, I have to like that person even though they did this horrible thing, or wow, I should aspire to be those people, because hell no, don't do that. Don't do that, especially with that movie. But the point is it's a character in a movie, and you're not supposed to latch onto those details of saying those certain things. You're supposed to realize them as a character, and the moment that we get rid of that completely, honestly, I won't like. Because if you don't have the freedom to either, even if it's not your opinion, if you don't have the freedom to add your character or what you think should be a good character, then the art of film would be close to being dead. If the second that everything has to be politically correct, and I know I'm not going to go on a rant about that just in general, but I am for movies, just the moment that there is a film that's pretty much 100% politically correct, that doesn't offend a single person on purpose, then the art of film is going to be close to dead, because you gotta have likable Nazis. You gotta have characters that,
okay,
even if,
so you're let me get this. Your likable Nazi is just like your word or your phrase for saying there should be no line or no boundary that we
No
should be worried
restraint.
across. Yeah, I get that. You're saying let's try to find the most horrid character whatsoever and make him break the complete stereotype just because we can do that. We should be allowed to have the freedom of breaking those stereotypes and passing those boundaries. I completely agree. But the thing is, I don't think that'll ever happen. I don't think we'll ever reach that point. You hope you never reach that point, but I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, and I hope so. Just because every once in a while, like I said, every once in a while I just see things that are like, should we ban this movie? Should a petition started to do this and all this stuff, and it's like, no, that is the point of art.
Well,
Even if
I think a lot of writers and directors are with you on that one, so I wouldn't worry about it.
it's just producers. That's the thing that I'd be worried about is producers being scared and studios being scared to make certain risks just because a character is a little, because that's realistic. There are people like that. There are still people like that. There shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I totally agree that there shouldn't be. Whatever. That's the whole controversy of using the N-word in Django. It just made my brain hurt because it's so stupid and made no sense.
Because they definitely didn't use that word back then.
Because they weren't racist back then. They weren't, they were totally cool.
They just decided that was cool, whatever.
And
yeah,
we don't have to ignore that. There were stupid times in history. Did you know there was a time in history?
We don't want to get too preachy here.
Did you know there was a time that people thought they should force deaf people to learn how to talk?
Wait, what?
There was a time where people
to learn how to talk normal?
To just learn how to talk. Like if you couldn't hear, you shouldn't sign. They wanted to abolish sign language. There was a time where people wanted to abolish sign language because people are stupid.
It's hard though. It's hard though. It's really hard to learn sign language.
It's really hard, but
so I don't want to do it. I'm just gonna not do it then, and I'm just gonna force everybody around me to not also do it. So yeah. No, I'm kidding. I got you. I'm with you on that one. But yeah, let's get the likable Nazi in here. It'd be sweet. I could see someone like Tarantino doing that. I mean, he was close. You almost kind of loved Hitler in that one part. He was kind of like goofy in like an adorable way.
It's like, oh, little Hitler, you're an idiot. Stop.
Did you get a chance to see the interview yet? It was on Netflix for a little while. Well, I don't know.
I think it might still be on Netflix.
It might still be. I thought it was only offered for a certain amount of time, but I guess it's still going. It made Kim Jong-un kind of lovable in the beginning. I don't know what you thought, but obviously they made him that's a different thing. Okay, so you know how I said that thing about serving it up to audiences, making the audiences understand who's the real bad guy. That's all well and good when you don't know the guy. It's just they introduce the enemy, the evil guy, and they need to tell the audience why he's bad. I understand that. Kim Jong-un, we already know how he's a terrible guy. So they made him lovable in the beginning, and it was kind of awesome. Like you're like, wow.
They made him like cute, like you couldn't take him seriously, and that's what probably was the greatest part, was because he wasn't like a character you want to actually meet. He's just like this. Wow, that guy's a leader of a country. That's hilarious because it's satire and propaganda. It's funny. And then
it was cool, and I was like, oh, they're partying with Kim Jong-un. And then like in 10, 15 minutes into the partying and into the like, you're starting to like Kim Jong-un, I'm just thinking, this isn't right. I'm like, I know this guy's a terrible person, and I know he's like part of a really messed up country. And I was just thinking to myself, all right, so this has got to turn. And right when I thought that, the movie turned, and I thought, that's good directing. I was like, that's good writing. And it was awesome.
Yeah.
People want to compare it to like This Is the End and Knocked Up, but I thought the interview, and because it was so hyped, I think people were a little bit disappointed by it. But I thought taking it away from the movies in the big theaters kind of was good for it, because it was so already hyped, and then if it went on the theaters on that big ass screen, people packed the max to go see it in theaters, I think people would have really shat on it. But it kind of got released a little silently on Netflix, and I watched it, just sitting on my lap, sitting on my computer on Netflix, and I really enjoyed it. It's a good, solid comedy movie.
Yeah, It didn't. Yeah, I mean, it delivered on what it was supposed to do. It was a funny movie about this story, and it was supposed to make fun of a lot of things like talk show hosts and Kim Jong Un. Kim Jong Un wasn't even the main focus, and it was supposed to make fun of all these funny things and celebrities, and it did, and it did it perfectly.
Yeah,
It
it
did like
delivered for me on a lot. I was really pretty happy with it.
yeah,
I thought James Franco was hilarious. I didn't really even get much. And Seth Rogen was playing the typical guy trying to keep everything intact and keep the wild talk show host in line. And then
yeah.
James Franco kind of like stole the show. I think he was hilarious.
He was so good.
Not to mention the guy who played Kim Jong Un. He was great. He was fantastic.
He was fantastic. Yeah. Because he was so adorable. He was like a little puppy at times.
Yeah, it's like if you felt bad for him. You legitimately felt bad for him at certain parts. So that was what I was happy about. When I saw the little plot, I saw the plot details about it, about how James Franco's character, the TV host, it said TV host, goes to Korea and actually starts becoming liking this guy or whatever, becomes infatuated by this guy. And I was just like, what are they gonna make Kim Jong Un like manipulate him into liking him? And I was like, no, I would have done the same thing. I would have partied with him. I would have been like, this guy's kind of different. I would have gone the same path that James Franco, maybe not the same exact, but
Yeah.
the same.
Would have been a little bit. Had my head a little bit on my shoulders a little bit more, but I would still took an advantage of it. I'd be like, I know this guy's evil and all, but he throws a hell of a party. I'm down with this.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm totally okay with this.
who knows? I could have been sold at the dog when they gave him the puppy. I would have been like, fuck it. I will do whatever dirty deed you need me to do if you give me a puppy. It's terrible. But yeah, that was something I guess I didn't know I wanted to talk about until I got on the topic. But now I'm glad. Anybody who hasn't seen it yet, see the interview. Don't hype it up. It's not some spellbounding movie that's gonna shake.
It's just hyped because it was controversial.
Yeah, it's, and even the movie itself. The movie itself, like the topic is controversial, but that's the only thing really controversial in that movie.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not like Borat or Bruno that's like every 10 minutes just like piles on the obscenities and insults.
Yeah.
Well, we could pick one now. We could talk about Vanilla Sky and the movies we watched in the last, few days or so. Or we can talk about future. And I heard some pretty crazy stuff today. I heard rumors. You said you heard rumors of Tron.
Ooh, yeah.
And,
I found a few articles that I could talk about if we do future stuff.
Let's do that. Because I also heard rumors about the new Star Wars and standalone Star Wars. That's pretty big. As well as, I heard rumors of something else too. That was pretty big. So let's do that then. We'll do rumors.
Okay.
I don't know how you want to segue this time.
All right. So I guess we could just get to some future stuff coming up. Some rumors, news.
Future. A long time ago, or actually, future.
Fuck that quote up pretty well.
Far time before. Damn it. You know what I mean.
In a galaxy that's here right now, like right here.
On a random side note, you ever watch Key and Peele?
Yeah, once in a while.
They were just ranting about like series and stuff. He's like, and the one guy goes, "I wish I could just make one show called Found, and it's one episode, and a plane crashes on an island, and then 10 minutes later another plane flies by and goes, oh, there they are." One episode done. I just thought that was really funny. But
it's like the one movie, The Trip. You gotta watch that on Netflix. It's an interesting comedy that like nothing at all happens, but it's all dialogue, and it's pretty funny dialogue, really smart dialogue. And the one part, the guys, they're like, whatever happened? He's like, why are they never specific in like those epic movies? They're always like, we ride at dawn. It's like, what time is dawn? Like, we ride at 9. At 9? Let's say 10, but be ready by like 9-ish. We ride at dawn-ish. 9-ish, kind of 10. Wait, when do you want to have breakfast? When should we have breakfast?
Yeah,
and they go on this whole rant about it.
I feel like in the
So
future
funny.
sometime we should dedicate an entire episode to typical movie tropes that like nobody actually ever explains. You know, what was the other thing? The one thing in the Broad City episode I saw, and now we're way off tangent, but I'll finish after this. The Broad City episode I watched last night, she was like, one of the girls, if you ever watch that, centers around two girls living in New York City. And one of the girls was just like, oh, I'll meet you at the coffee shop later. And the other character, and she just runs off screen. And the other character goes, what coffee shop? What time? She never tells me any of these things. And it's just little blurbs like that shows like the genius of a show, because it's like so many movies do that where they just kind of say these really ambiguous things and you're like, wait a second, they need to do a whole more lot planning for that to actually happen. But yeah, that's so rumors, what we were eventually talking about.
I saw
Really far away stuff. Yeah,
I saw an actual confirmation. There was a rumor like yesterday or the day before, but now it's an actual confirmation that Joe Kosinski, director of Oblivion and Tron Legacy, is returning for the third Tron installment. And I'm just reading this on Digital Spy. It got linked from IMDb, and they're saying that like there's rumors for Garrett Hedlund, who I thought was really good as Sam Flynn. He's most likely returning.
I like him. He's a good character.
They're guessing that Olivia Wilde's gonna return, but she's in a new movie like every other week. I didn't realize how much this girl acts. Like she's been in so many movies in the past like 2 years, but hopefully she'll make time for another third one. I feel like she had fun with the first one. I think I heard somewhere that she had a good time playing that.
Yeah, I liked her for sure. I love her in like everything.
Yeah,
even
and
she
the movie,
like terrible character or whatever. I just like to watch her do stuff. She's a babe.
Gotta mention your babes on this, I guess.
Yeah, I always do. I try to.
What was I gonna say? But yeah, another small little rant about Tron Legacy was I thought it really wasn't. I loved the movie just because it was so ridiculously well directed, and a lot of people agree with that. Even the people who kind of critique it say that it was well directed, but other than that, the script was kind of bland. I don't see why. I thought the script was there was nothing wrong with it, but a lot of people said it didn't capture the magic that the first one did. Whatever, that's just you being nitpicky. And then they said CGI Jeff Bridges was creepy. And then when you think about it, though,
it was on like 10 seconds.
He's a bad guy,
and
like he's a bad guy. He has to be creepy. I mean, I'm sure they didn't do that on purpose. I'm sure they just weren't. Their CGI just wasn't that good. But he's at one point he's the bad guy. You never see when he's like good guy Jeff Bridges. You only see him for like a split second, like when he right in the beginning when he's good and supposed to be young. But,
yeah, I mean, I understand that. I understand the need for the character because that's his character. Clue is the ageless version of Jeff Bridges at the time that he created Clue, so he can't really age because he's a computer program. But that being said, it looks great on paper, but then when it translates to a movie, I can somewhat side with people that it looks creepy, but what are you gonna do? You're gonna cast a younger actor, or are you just gonna try as hard as you can to make him look okay on CG?
Yeah, and I mean they did pretty good. De-aging people is so difficult though, because like you look at like Legolas in the Hobbit, and then you look at Patrick in X-Men Origins Wolverine, that horrendous movie. Patrick Stewart they play like CG, make him so he looks young, and it looks terrifying. It's scary. It just looks terrifying. But
well, yeah, and kind of
it's always hard.
It is hard because I mean, really, even if the CG is amazing, you have in your mind how that person looked in your head. So you're automatically going to look for the bad parts, you know what I mean? You're going to look for the mess ups, you're going to look for anything that looks slightly digital or fake. So it's hard to really say. I mean, you can see obviously good CGI and bad CGI like you were saying. But
yeah. But the movie was, for a first-time director, I have zero complaints on how it was directed and how it was shot. The cinematography, when it was in the real-life scenes, was like it was so much nighttime shots and it was super noir kind of for a sci-fi movie. I thought it was really cool that they added kind of noir visuals, especially since he's a first-time director. He got all these great like shots in, even
He
the
got Daft
CG
Punk
shots
to
that
work with him. I mean,
he got
that's
fucking Daft Punk to
that's
work with
impressive.
him.
That's impressive. They won't work with anybody. Yet they'll work with Kanye West.
You know, whatever.
Their
They
one
just
and
like
only flaw.
they just like doing stuff. I guess they're probably just like, fucking why not?
Yeah. But yeah, no, like I really like Tron. I will say though, after seeing the first one, I can see why people like the first one better, and they call the magic. A lot of the thing that kind of was lost on the second one, in my opinion, and I do prefer the second one because of the action and because the music and the cinematography
Yeah.
really beat it. But the material, it's like Tron felt like more kid like and had less adult like themes in it. It seemed like it was just about a fun action movie, whereas the first Tron had all this like computer talk into it, and it seemed like a legitimate like computer movie. A guy who's being underappreciated at his boss is about to make this technological breakthrough, gets sucked into computer. It's kind of cool. Whereas the new one is this rebellious teenager. I guess I'm saying it just feels more kid oriented. That being said,
Uh-huh.
I liked it better, of course. But like there's little things like they drank like from a river in the first Tron to like power up, and that was kind of cool. And they're
They kind of
driving they're
they paid
driving in
homage to that.
tanks. They're driving in tanks and stuff, and that was
Hmm.
sweet. It just seems like they did a little less in the next one.
Yeah, but they didn't like with certain points. They just, the action and like they didn't have enough light bike. I think just racing, but
Yeah.
when they did, holy shit, they delivered.
That
That was
awesome.
fantastic. The light bike scene was just one of the coolest action scenes I've seen in a long time.
So Tron is one of the rumors, and I kind of got to cut it a little bit short because we got
It's
other.
been officially greenlit. That and Disney has greenlit 2 movies in the past few days, and Frozen being the other one.
Yes.
So if you guys are interested in that,
I'm
Kristen
so
Bell, I
pumped.
gotta, I gotta say,
So excited.
Kristen Bell did this like adorable tweet thing where she just did a picture of her using a pillow, an ice bag as a pillow, and she's just like, it's confirmed, and it was just like Frozen 2. And I was like, Kristen Bell, you're adorable
I love
all
her.
the time.
She's great. Without getting too far into it, did you see Frozen?
Yeah,
I never saw it.
it was good. I liked it.
Well,
It was like,
whatever.
if you've seen visually, it was actually really phenomenal. It wasn't just an animated movie. It was just like random, just animated and it's funny, so kids will like it. Visuals were actually really good. There was cool angles and cool kind of like some shots just looked like paintings. I don't know. It had definitely a unique look to it.
Yeah.
It
I'll go
was
see it. It was raved
definitely
about.
well. It was definitely well directed.
That's
It was it was enjoyable. It was like it's a Disney movie. When you think about it, a lot of people dismiss it like, oh, it's Frozen. It's just this girly movie. It's like, but then you think, do you know how many times everybody who said that has probably seen Lion King 100 times? And even though it's not as good as Lion King, obviously, it's still a Disney movie from this. It's the same makers of Lion King. It's the same makers of like, just all of the awesome classics. So
I mean,
just
I
'cause
loved Aladdin, and that was basically like a romance.
Aladdin,
That was like
yeah.
a romance, if you kind of
Uh-huh.
take away all the goofiness and the awesomeness of the genie and stuff, that's a romance.
Rest in
Really, it's
peace,
like a guy and a girl. Yeah,
Robin Williams. Rest in peace.
great man. But yeah, so I don't know. The track record with Disney sequels is not really great though. So we'll see if Frozen 2 delivers. Another big rumor announcement just today, I believe, and because we're so good at what we do, we're so good to the viewers, the 10 viewers that listen to us, that we are delivering you on the edge news. Star Wars has announced 2 major things: that they've attached a writer and director for Star Wars Episode 8, and they've announced the title of the first standalone Star Wars movie called Star Wars Rogue One.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they didn't really give many details on the plot, but Rogue One can mean a million different things, and I know some other podcasts out there that would literally talk for 2 hours just on the fact that it's named Rogue One and go into this insane detail about what that could mean and the speculation. They could speculate for literally hours. I don't really know how to speculate. All I could guess is that it's gonna go kind of like a I feel like, well, actually, no, I could go, well, now I'm starting to speculate, but it could go, I think, one of two ways, which they've talked about before, the two standalone movies. One was with a bounty hunter, so it could go a Boba Fett kind of route, and then the other was with a Han Solo type of standalone origin story. So, Rogue One, Han Solo, Rogue One, Boba Fett, whatever you think. I don't know. I couldn't tell you, to be honest. But
Hey, I mean, that's awesome.
yeah, I'm
And
excited.
I heard about the episode 8 rumors on who was going to be, and then recently I saw that it was the confirmation for 8 is the same as 9.
The director and writer, or just the director?
Either.
That's cool. And I don't know if you heard this. I think this is, well, who's the writer and director? Do you know the name?
I saw that the director was going to be Ryan Johnson, who did Looper.
Okay, so that tells me something then, because I don't know if you know this, but the director of the standalone movie for Star Wars Rogue One is going to be directed by none other than Gareth Edwards.
Ooh, oh yeah, he had been saying that before he makes Godzilla 2, he's gonna make a standalone Star Wars movie. He's from the get-go, like I bet even before producers signed him on, he was like, "Fuck it, I want to make a Star Wars movie. Make it a Star Wars movie, everyone."
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an insane. I'm a pretty big Star Wars fan, but I'm not an insane Star Wars fan. I'm a pretty damn big Godzilla fan too, so I'm a little bit torn. I would love for him to make Godzilla 2. Like, I think he should just focus on making that awesome. But obviously Star Wars is just massive, so maybe he should work on that first. I don't know. I'm completely torn with that, to be honest. I'm just really excited. They're both awesome. They're both going to be amazing. I'm just going to assume they're going to be amazing, and even if they're terrible, I'm going to love them. It's one of those movies, you know? You can't help. You want to be analytical and smart and whatever you want about movies, but there comes to a certain movies coming out that you're just like, I don't care how shitty it's gonna be, I'm gonna love it. And hopefully it's actually not shitty.
There had been I don't know how this is gonna work out now since a lot of other announcements came out, but I know Zack Snyder was really interested in making. Apparently, he was set to develop a spin-off of the Star Wars movies. Also, he was going to do, if it wasn't this one, then it was going to be if it wasn't the Gareth Edwards one, it was going to be another one. Whether he was producing or directing, I don't know. But now with all the releases of the news of the Justice League series and all the DC movies coming out, I don't know if he's going to have time for Star Wars movie.
He might be pretty tied up. Who knows?
But with him, I would have zero problem of him doing a Star Wars movie. He's a phenomenal director. Say what you want about any of the movies that he's done, because I know some of them were hit or miss. Sucker Punch, Man of Steel, Watchmen. They all kind of had people with their beefs about them, but visually, directing, and all the cinematography to them were just phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to two people that are probably the only two people in the country that love Sucker Punch. I loved Sucker Punch. So, but it does have like somewhat of a cult following. I think gaining. I hope it does, because I thought it was a very good.
Yeah, it was. That could be a rant. That'll be a rant for another day. But I definitely
underrated, awesome movies. That should be noted for the future. But other than that, I don't have too many other rumors. I thought I had one more big rumor.
I have one.
Oh, go ahead, please enlighten us.
Joe Manganiello? I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he is rumored.
It's a good start.
Joe, I'll link him in the link dump. He's rumored to play Deathstroke in the Suicide Squad movie, which is awesome.
Ew.
I think.
Okay, yeah, I don't know who this guy. What else is he in there?
He's looking him up. I was looking him up earlier, and I was kind of laughing because he did. I know for a fact he was Flash Thompson, the bully, in the original Spider-Man series, and He's Big Dick Richie in the Magic Mike series.
Big Dick
Um,
Ritchie. Oh wow.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I heard his performance in that was moving. Let's just say.
oh yeah, but yeah, I haven't seen him. He's a big stunt guy. He does a lot of stunts, which is awesome because if you're Deathstroke and you don't care about having your face behind a mask the whole time, then you could do stunts. You could be badass like Deathstroke always is.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be honest, I would settle with him doing the actual like in costume acting or like whatever. But I would love Ron Perlman to do the voice because he did the voice for Teen Titans, and it's just so cool.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is I think the actor, whoever plays the actor, is gonna be tough because they need to find somebody that that kind of tops that badass voice. Because Ron Perlman does an amazing Deathstroke.
Yeah, he reprised his role for Flashpoint Paradox.
Flashpoint Paradox, cool.
And he was only in there for a little bit, and I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah.
Just so badass.
Well, very cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, Slade. Deathstroke, a.k.a. Slade Wilson.
I mean...
They always called him Slade in Teen Titans, and I thought that name is so badass. It's like, you have, like, the guy Deathstroke the Terminator, a.k.a. Slade Wilson. You have there's no way anyone can call you something and you'll sound wimpy. You sound badass automatically.
It's like, okay, you got Superman. His other name is Clark. How lame is that? Even Batman, Bruce. Also, what's with these B's and C's? I was just thinking Flash, Barry Allen. I mean, come on. The Green Lantern, John Stewart.
/ Hal Jordan.
Hal, right. The other Hal. I mean, they're all the lamest things ever. And this dude's real life name is Slade. That's fucking terrifying. It's like these guys just have these lame ass personas, but this guy's cool.
Yeah.
Even the Punisher. We were talking about the Punisher before. Frank. I guess his last name's cool. His last name's cool, I guess.
Castle.
But Frank, just take that away. But yeah, that's really cool. Very cool stuff on that. I was trying to find this other rumor, but I can't really find it. So I don't know if we got anything else. But
this guy who's going to be playing Slade / Deathstroke is going to be in Knight of Cups, which is the next Terrence Malick film.
Oh yeah, didn't that already come out? I saw it 2015 release.
2015, December 2015. It's got its poster artwork is not a surprise because it's super hippie poster artwork, not a surprise for Terrence Malick. Yeah. But the trailer actually makes it kind of look unique compared to his past entries, which I really hope so, because To the Wonder was so underwhelming that I really want this one to be, different. It's got tons of amazing actors in it, just tons.
Yeah, I always have hope for Terrence Malick, and when it comes down to it, people have called him one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, and it's easy to get kind of distracted by that because the last 3 or 4 movies he's made have just kind of followed the same formula. It's kind of sad because he does have potential to make an amazing movie. Like, what if he made a movie about space? Holy shit, dude, that'd be nuts.
He's making a documentary.
Well,
narrated. I get it. Yeah, this is the greatest thing ever. He's making a space documentary, I'm guessing in the vein of like Planet Earth and / Tree of Life.
That might be awesome. If it's in the
narrated by Brad Pitt.
Okay. I'm kind of mad about that, but that should be cool.
It's called Voyage of Time, and I'm sure it's going to be like opera music, and
I hope so.
And Kate Blanchett is also going to narrate.
Oh yeah, cool. All right.
I don't mind hearing anything.
I'm excited for that now. You've just made me excited about it. So. All right, cool. Yeah, like I said, I always have hope for Terrence Malick. He's one of those guys that you just you're gonna always put your bet on him, even when he makes a bunch of crappy movies. You're like, yeah, he'll make a comeback, I think.
Yeah.
He started out in like the 70s. I don't know if anybody knows this, but he started out in the 70s, made these incredible movies, and then at 78 took like a 20-year break and didn't come back until The Thin Red Line. That once he announced that he was making this movie, The Thin Red Line, actors like lined up to go in his movie, and they said they didn't want to get paid anything, nothing. They just wanted to
Yeah.
be in a Terrence Malick movie. That's how much power
And
he
then
holds.
and then some people regretted it, but afterwards getting edited out and stuff like that, which I feel bad for, but at the same time,
Yeah,
it was
okay.
still an incredible film.
That's a whole other thing, but yeah, I understand.
Yeah, that's another thing.
We
I
get
saw
to-
I saw
that could be a
Days of
topic,
Heaven.
too.
I saw Days of Heaven, which was the one right before the 20-year hiatus, and it was really good. I thought I put it in perspective of saying it was so innovative. It was not innovative. It was the first of its kind. It was first to be so unique. And looking at it after seeing like the Tree of Life, it's probably not, in my opinion, as good as the Tree of Life.
So wait,
better than
Days of Heaven. You said Days of Heaven was the one that was in '78, right? Right before the big 20-year hiatus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, go on.
Yeah, so that movie was like, it wasn't as good as Tree of Life. It was better in my opinion than To the Wonder. But I haven't seen the New World. I want to. It wasn't as good as like The Thin Red Line, but it was still so unique for its time. Like I could just picture people just going to cinemas and just going like, this movie's phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. And it really was great, just visually, and writing was okay.
Malick movies tend
about.
to do that. They're visually like suck you in, like, oh my god, I'm just eye porn. You're just loving every second of it.
Yeah.
But and then once you watch it like a few more times, you realize nothing happened in this movie.
Oh yeah.
That's the unfortunate part about it. But like I said, I have hope for his new movies.
The thing it did better than To the Wonder was To the Wonder you don't like the characters, and Days of Heaven you actually kind of want all of the characters to win, even though one guy is actually kind of the bad guy, but it doesn't matter because you feel bad for him.
He definitely is good at relaying emotion. Tell you.
Yeah, and that's where To the Wonder fell so flat.
Yeah.
I just didn't care about the characters.
Was there a lot of walking through tall grass and staring up at trees and shit? And well, not in Days of Heaven, but maybe To the Wonder.
Yeah, there was a lot of walking without dialogue. The best part about Days of Wonder, if anyone goes to see it, I think it's still on Netflix.
You just said To the Wonder and Days of Wonder. You just combine the two. What do you mean?
To the Wonder.
Oh, okay.
The newest one with Ben Affleck. The best part, if anyone goes to see it, is Javier Bardem, who's not played up enough, but he's still the best part, along with this Italian girl that only has like a few scenes, but she's just walking through the streets of America, just boasting in Italian to her friend who knows Italian, just saying this long rant, just like pointing to Americans and just shitting on them with not like cynical, not like typical American's stupid, but like she's just going on this rant to just make her friend feel better in Italian, and it just is so cool to like. It's like so funny because she's like just so happy with everything, just like yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, the one scene that maybe saved the movie is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Italian language is gorgeous, so yeah, it's probably awesome. Yeah, I should look up that damn rumor that I forgot, but I guess I feel like we can end it with that. I feel like we got enough. I was just gonna say,
the only
coming out
the only
tomorrow.
next thing, since there's little detail about it, I'll just mention it real quick, is David Fincher. I just want to mention it because it's not Girl Who Played with Fire, even though I wish it was. It's not the next Girl with Dragon Tattoos film, but it is another collaboration with Ben Affleck.
Okay, so
and it's a remake. It's a remake of Alfred Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train, which I haven't seen before, but I just read like the basis of it, and it's just sounds like wow. I want David Fincher to direct this movie because it just seems great.
So he's definitely gonna do it, or? I mean, David Fincher directing an Alfred Hitchcock movie would be amazing, I think. They're set to remake it, yeah. I mean, he showed in Panic Room that he's got that real ability to make this kind of slow, deliberate, creeping movie. So I think he'd do great.
Yeah, he's great at just. It could be one location, it could be 20 locations, and he'll still make it all just based around this like really crafty story.
That'll be cool. Keep an eye out for that then.
Definitely.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Kind of backtracking again to the movies coming out, but I didn't emphasize this enough. Run All Night is coming out tomorrow. Now we're recording this on Thursday the 12th. I don't know when it'll hit the YouTube stream, but I'm sure by the time you're listening to this, Run All Night will have been out. And I just want to say, like, Liam used to be a like big time Broadway actor. What the hell happened to him? You know, it's just he actually I heard he was actually came out to say he's actually just doing movies just to kind of like a retirement plan. Like he's just making movies to save up enough money so he can kind of skate on easy street for the rest of his life in like 10 years or 5 years or something. And it's kind of sad because I think he's a great actor, but he's just pumping out this crap. I have absolutely no desire to see Run All Night. Like, I will not pay money. You might have to pay me to go see it, actually. I'm just not excited.
I just feel bad because he says he just, after his wife died, he just kind of gave up on, like, don't quote me on this because I haven't heard this directly, but he just kind of gave up on really, he wants to do these action movies while he can, and because he knows he's going to be old. I think he said he was going to retire from action movies in like 2 years, he said recently, and you know, that he's just doing it until he's too old to do it. And the problem is The Gray got negative reviews because it was advertised as an action film. Nonstop got kind of mixed reviews because it was, again, advertised as an action film, but if you went to go see it, you'd know it was this really unique suspense film set on a plane that
I guess
it was really thrilling.
I guess then what your point is I'm part of the victim. I'm being persuaded by the crappy advertisements that just put Liam Neeson in these action movies, and it's working, I guess. So, you know, whose fault is that?
Yeah, and the only recent one that I saw besides Run All Night was that Walk Among the Tombstones, and that was either the only times that I saw it advertised were I saw it once, a really long trailer that advertised it as this really kind of like noirish kind of thriller that's kind of suspenseful and kind of all based around like this, you know, it's based on a book, so you could tell it's not just this mindless action movie. But then I saw it on TV where the mainstream audience is going to see, and it's just the action scenes that they advertise. I'm like, well, fuck! Now they completely ruined that. Now it's.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even about.
And it got bad reviews because it was really limited release for that movie, and then like the people who did end up seeing it were like, oh, it's not this action movie, and it's because they keep on following the same wrong formula.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of how the movie actually is and the poor quality of its like publicity, if it's still a bad movie, it's still a bad movie.
Yeah.
So you gotta kind of take the reviews and the critics with some weight. I mean, yeah, it sets it up for a bad like rap when you set it up for an action movie and it doesn't end up being that way. But smart critics and smart film critics don't go to a movie and just kind of be like, oh, it was supposed to be an action and it wasn't, I'm gonna say it's bad now. You know, they're actually gonna look at it as a if it was a good movie no matter what. So,
yeah, and known critics were usually either indifferent or they thought it was good movies. They thought they were good films. Where
I like the
movies that kind of like it's
solid.
just the public kind of gives it this mixed review. I actually talked with somebody who straight up said they're like I saw Nonstop twice. The first time I saw it, I was expecting an action film, and I walked out of the theaters pissed. I didn't walk out in the middle. I watched the whole movie, but by the end, I was pissed because there was barely any action. And then I saw it again, and I realized for what it was. Like, and that was the perfect example of somebody and they totally owned up to it. They saw it as an action movie, but they didn't actually get an action movie.
Yeah, I guess at this point, I'm just sick of seeing him with a gun in a movie. You know, it's like it doesn't matter if I can't even give it a chance anymore. I'm sorry, but I can't even give it a chance. If someone's playing it in the background, I'll watch it, I guess, but I can't even give it a chance. You know, it's like when people were talking about how these guys were talking about how they were worried about being oversaturated with superhero movies in the next like 5 to 10 years because there's going to be so many that are coming out. I have already hit my saturation limit of Liam Neeson with a gun movies. I'm just done. So, you know, fuck that movie. I'm not going to see Run All Night. But that's just my opinion on that movie coming out, you know.
I mean, it looks some shots look unique. I might end up seeing it somehow, but I'm probably not gonna, go to like IMAX or anything like that. Probably discount stuff.
Yeah, you see it. Whatever.
Yeah.
You take the abuse for me.
But yeah, so that's our rant about movies upcoming, about Nazis, about everything. We hit a lot on this fucking episode.
Friendly night.
Episode 2.
Friendly Nazis.
Episode 2/3.
Episode 2. We are moving up in the world.
Maybe we'll get more views. Who knows?
Yeah, 10 is a very low number, so I think we can pass it. But, that's saying a lot. We moved to double digits, so I'm happy about that.
And having our mom and dad refresh the YouTube page doesn't count anymore.
Not anymore. Actually, I don't know how many views I've contributed to it. Just probably
All right, so I gotta pee. I gotta write an essay also. But if the audience likes talking about movies, I got top 10 lists. I got movie reviews. Coming soon, obviously, because we're just starting. And more of this podcast, short films, a lot of stuff coming to the YouTube channel. If you're listening to this on SoundCloud, then the YouTube channel is the same name as the SoundCloud channel.
Which is?
So, AlphaCentauri.
There you go.
I was getting to that. This has been the Real Brothers podcast. There's also a Harley Davidson dealer in Wisconsin called the Real Brothers or something like that.
Really? Oh man, we're gonna have to add copyright, fucking copyright battle royale.
I guess so. I mean,
because we are, by the way, Real REEL. It's very clever. Very clever. Film reel.
Yeah. I don't know what that has to do with Harley Davidson, but he spells it the same way too. Fucking
commies. Damn friendly Nazis.
Friendly Nazis. Likeable Nazis.
Likeable, sorry.
And cut.
Well, you're supposed to say things like, and as always, joining me was the insightful, brilliant Nicolas.
Oh.
You say that if you want.
I mean,
it's just how all podcasts end. I feel like we should do that.
And joining me was, Nicolas, I guess. But the real star of the show was me, Maxwell, a lot.
Yep.
And we're the Real Brothers.
Oh yeah, all the time, all day, baby.
And there's a third real brother, a no-show, who's a perpetual no-show. He's
not our real brother, though. Let's be honest.
I get it.
All right, see you next week.
All right, see you on that note.